Children, today we are going to do the chapter Discovering Tut. The saga continues from your book Hornbill. And in this, we'll come to know more about Tut. He was actually Tutankhamun. Tut was a Tut was an Egyptian pharaoh. Can anybody tell me who is a pharaoh? You have to raise your hand. Who is a pharaoh? Do you know, Ritika, who is a pharaoh?
हाँ मेरे लीव हो गया था। हम क्या कह रहे थे मैम आप?
Is a pharaoh.
पेरू
Pharaoh. Pharaoh they were actually kings. Means we say kings, rulers, they used to call them pharaoh. And this Tut was actually the last king, the last pharaoh to have ruled in the dynasty. He ruled for a very short period of time, 9 years. And he became a king at the age of 9. Means he became a pharaoh at the age of 9 and he ruled for 9 years and he died at the age of 19. How he died? That's a mystery. Now, he is the author of A.R. Williams, author of Discovering Tut, the saga continues. In this chapter, we'll come to know more about the sarcophagus, the tombs, this is also known as pyramid. Have you seen such things? Sarcophagus, what is it? This first pic, the first picture, what is it? Can you tell me, Anish? Is this a painting? Is this a statue? Ujjeri, what is it?
Man statue.
Ma'am, which one?
This one, this pic, what is it?
Statue.
No. Yes, Suhani, what is this?
Ma'am, pyramid.
Pyramid is pic number 2. Yes, Karan Diwan, what is this?
Ma'am, a statue.
It's actually an Egyptian coffin. Coffin is a thing in which the dead bodies are placed. Sarcophagus. 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 I'll tell you the spelling also. Sarcophagus. 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 That means a coffin. And it is totally made up of gold. It's made up of gold. And the pharaoh who is placed inside this, his body is mummified and he's covered with a lot of gold ornaments and then placed in this coffin to be forgotten. But archaeologists, they are digging up, they are searching for treasures, and fortunately you can say Howard Carter, he found this tomb, not tomb, this tomb in the year 1922. Howard Carter, he was an archaeologist. For many years he was searching Tutankhamun's tomb, but he couldn't. But then when he found that there was a lot of treasure in it. Why treasures are kept in a tomb? Do you know?
Ma'am, may I?
Yes, Anish. Why treasures
Ma'am,
are
वो
kept?
इसलिए रखते थे मैम क्योंकि जब किंग की डेथ होती
Speak
थी
in
तो वो लोग
English.
कहते थे
Speak in English, Anish.
ma'am, when the king used to die, all the people used to think that the treasure belonged to the king, so we will keep the treasure along with his body only.
No. Actually, they believed in resurrection. These people, they believed in resurrection. Resurrection means not rebirth. But they used to believe that a person after death gets up from his death and goes to some other place, and he needs all this treasure for his survival in the afterlife. And being a pharaoh, he was covered with a lot of gold. You could find food articles in the room, wine, honey, then all his daily things that he requires, for example, sandals, razor, the undergarments. There were many things found in his tomb. Now, how is a body mummified? Does anybody know how is a body mummified? No. Okay.
Ma'am, body mummy?
Mummified. How is a body made into a mummy? Just
Ma'am,
by
Ma'am, by covering
it
them.
used to freeze, I think.
now Anish is saying they used to cover by bandages. You are saying it's freezing. No, I'll tell you, the body when somebody would die, they would make a slit here near the nose, here, just below the nose, and they would take out all the things, the brain and the eyes. Only the skull would be left.
Yes,
Then,
ma'am.
then they would make a slit near his navel and take out the large intestine, the small intestine, the kidney, liver, lungs. Only thing that remained was his heart. Then they would cover the body with salt that the body dries up completely. Because you know all these things they will damage the body. So they take out all these things and only the skeleton and the skin on top remains. Then the body is smeared with raisin. Raisin is the fluid which comes out from the trees. With lots of other herbs, it is heated and then it is put on the body. And later on, the body is bandaged. After the body is completely bandaged, then being the pharaoh, he was covered with lots of gold jewelry and put in this sarcophagus. When they found, they were very happy because Tutankhamun was actually the last pharaoh of the Egyptian dynasty. And we are told here that he died in his teenage for ruling after 9 years. But when they found the body, his mystery, his death is a mystery. Because after 40 years, that is in the year 1968, means 1922 they found the body, and 1968 the body was x-rayed, the mummy was x-rayed, because at that time the x-ray machine was discovered, they invented. So they found out that some of the bones in the rib cage, they were missing. Now how can the bones be missing? If the bones they got damaged, they broke, they would be in the body. But while mummification, these bones were taken out with other things and only the heart remained, because they felt the heart was required in resurrection, that is waking up from death, and in afterlife the treasures were required. So when his body was x-rayed in the year 1968, they found that his breastbone and front ribs were missing. After 40 more years after the body was x-rayed, in January 2005, the body was taken out for a CT scan. CT scan because that was the time the CT scan machine was invented. And it was $1 million machine which was gifted to this museum for scanning the bodies, the mummies. And we are told that when Howard Carter went to that tomb, he found that the tomb had three nested coffins. Nested means one inside the other one. There were three. And the first one had the funeral shroud. The funeral shroud is the cloth which you cover the body, the corpse. Then the second one had flowers, lotus petals and olive leaves, to show that he died in the year, in the month of March or April, because that is the time when these flowers, you can find these flowers. And the third one had his body. There were lots of paintings, Egyptian paintings in the tomb. Those are known as murals. And they came to know that his father, Amenhotep III, was a very powerful pharaoh, and he ruled for 40 years. He ruled for 40 years, 4 decades. Amenhotep III, Tutankhamun's father. And then when he died, Amenhotep IV, Tutankhamun's brother, became the king. But when he became the king, he did something extraordinary, weird. He was eccentric. You know what he did? He broke all the images and the temples of Amun. He attacked Amun, a god, and Amun was a very famous god of Egyptians at that time. And in place of Amun, he put Aten, the sun god. He started putting Aten's images, and even went to such an extent of changing his name. He changed his name to from Amenhotep IV, he changed it to Akhenaten, after Aten, and Akhenaten means servant of Aten. He changed Tut's name also to Tutankhamun. He changed his capital from Thebes to Amarna, and then he died. First he became crazy, and then he died. And we are also told that when he died, Tutankhamun was actually very small, so he couldn't be the ruler. And who became the ruler? Another person, and for a few years, maybe one from their relative. And when Tutankhamun became the king, the pharaoh, he was just 9. But he did something good. First of all, he changed his name to Tutankhamun to Tutankhamun. That means he was, because he liked Amun, the god. And then he restored the temples of Amun, which his brother had broken. And when Howard Carter found his body, he found that he could not remove the body from the coffin, the sarcophagus. He could not remove his body. Why? Because the gum, the resin, which was there on his body, was actually that due to that resin, the body had got stuck to the coffin. And he knew that the thieves, they would bribe the guards, and they would take the gold coffin and also take all the gold ornaments, and they will they would break open the mummy into parts, and it would be really pathetic condition. So what he did is he took the whole coffin and put it out in the sun. He thought, because you know what, Egypt is in Africa and equator, so it is very hot during afternoons. So he thought that raisin will lose and the body will come out, but the body did not come out. Instead, the body did not bulge. So what he did, he told his people to chisel the parts, the arms, the neck, the thighs, and then then he took off all the gold ornaments which was there on the body, and he told his people to get a box, a wooden box, and then he put sand on it, and the body was again put in the box, assembled in the box, and rebandaged. It was rebandaged to conceal the damage that he had done. And when people saw, or the secretary Havas, when he saw it, he was astounded. What has Carter done to the body? And Carter said, I had no choice what to do, because we are basically interested in the mummy. There's a lot of gold in the museum, but we are actually we are interested in the life of the mummy, the history of mummy. So the body had to be somehow chiseled and properly taken out, and then the body was x-rayed after 40 years, and then again after 80 years, that is after 1922 2005 January, the body was CT scanned, and they found out more about the body. So tomorrow we will read. Now his mummy is again in the tomb from where his mummy was found. It is put there only in that same wooden box.